Assalamu alaikum. Thank you everyone for joining the Halal in Travel Global Summit hosted by Crescent Rating. My name is Hassam Munir. I live in Canada and I am a research fellow at the Yaqeen Institute for Islamic Research. And I am doing my master's in history at the University of Toronto. And I am very pleased to be the moderator for this session, which is on the topic of connecting Muslims and especially Muslim visitors and travelers to Islamic heritage. So we will start off this session with some brief remarks on this topic, on the importance of this connection, as well as how governments must facilitate it for Muslim visitors. And then I will moderate a panel discussion with a very special guest. We are honored to have His Excellency Mr. Kakhramon Shakirov, and Mr. Shakirov is the ambassador extraordinaire and plenipotentiary at the Embassy of the Republic of Uzbekistan in Singapore. We are very pleased and honored to have him with us. Before I ask Mr. Shakirov to share his insights on this topic with us, just some brief remarks from my side on, this question of connecting Muslim visitors to the Islamic heritage. The modern life that we enjoy comes with many challenges, and Muslims are increasingly trying to connect with Islamic heritage to find some inspiration to overcome those challenges. So you see, for example, more traditional Islamic books are being translated, more traditional Islamic arts are being revived and made available for people, and people are engaging in that kind of work. You see travel as well is becoming more and more common for Muslims, such as Western Muslims, for example, who would travel maybe to Europe or maybe just to the countries where they had immigrated from, etc. But now it's becoming more of a global phenomenon. And especially travel is very important because it's the most immersive experience. You, instead of, for example, if we take an example from the Republic of Uzbekistan, a famous person who originated from that region is Imam al-Bukhari. So if we take his example, as Muslims around the world, everywhere in the world, we read the books and the teachings of Imam al-Bukhari. But when we actually go to the region and go to Samarkand and then go to Khartang and actually visit the site where he is buried, it's a much more immersive and enriching experience for us to learn from as Muslims and to connect with that heritage. You really feel that connection. And this is actually part of our tradition, even prior to modern times. Nowadays, all of this travel is, of course, facilitated by modern technology. So before I even go to Uzbekistan, I can learn so much about Uzbekistan on YouTube, on the internet, in other places, and I can take flights to Uzbekistan. So all of this is very helpful. But even prior to the modern era, if we take the example of someone like Ibn Battuta, the famous Muslim traveler from the 14th century, he too was following in this initiative to visit different Islamic heritage sites around the world. That was a huge part of his motivation, and that took him to the same places that it might take us. And of course, it did also take him to the cities of Bukhara and Samarkand in Uzbekistan as well. So that took him around the world. And there is a global consciousness that is arising now where Muslims are becoming more and more aware of the geography of the Ummah. So now we don't just go to the most popular destinations, such as, for example, Istanbul in Turkey, right? Or even for the pilgrimage to Mecca and to Medina, but we are going to more places, to Morocco, to Egypt, to Senegal, right, to Bosnia, to Malaysia, to Uzbekistan. We are going to more and more places and realizing just all of the different regions of the world in which the Ummah has thrived. Now, there certainly is a lot more work to be done to facilitate this access for Muslim visitors and to inspire them to not only use the existing connections that they may already have, but also to build their own connections as they visit their sites, to think very deeply, even if I'm going to a place for the first time, what is my very deep and very old connection, and how has the work and the effort that has been done in this particular site enriched my life in so many ways long before I even came to it. So those are a few thoughts that hopefully can inspire us to all have deeper conversations about facilitating this effort. Now, again, I am going to ask His Excellency, Mr. Shakirov, to share his insights with us. And I have a few questions for him. But first, I'll just give him the opportunity to join the conversation. And we say, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, Mr. Shakirov. We really appreciate that you are here with us.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. Dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to participate today Halal and Travel Global Summit 2022, attended by prominent experts from national tourism organizations, travel industry stakeholders, and online travel industry players. I would like to express my utmost appreciation to the Crescent Rating and Halal Trip for conducting the second summit dedicated to sharing insights and ideas of leveraging the Muslim travel and halal tourism market to accelerate recovery. It is worth to know that Uzbekistan and Singapore have historically enjoyed friendly relations which have very deep roots. The two most prominent sons of Uzbekistan and Singapore, as Imam al-Bukhari and Maulana Abdul Alim Siddiqui, built a strong bridge between our countries. Since the independence of Uzbekistan, Singapore has been one of the core partners in the Southeast Asian region. Relations in the field of politics, diplomacy, and social culture have been showing their positive growth. When we talk about the most and fast-growing fields of bilateral relations, it is, of course, tourism, particularly ziyarat and halal tourism, which plays an important role in the whole Uzbekistan tourism industry. Historically, Uzbekistan has played an important role in development of Islamic culture and science. Nowadays, Uzbekistan has thousands of historical and Islamic monuments gently preserved and maintained by the government, where some of them are included into the UNESCO World Heritage lists. In order to create more favorable conditions for foreign tourists, since February 2018, visa-free regime were granted for 65 countries, including Singapore, and for the rest countries, simplified visa system have been introduced where foreigners can apply for online visa without visiting Uzbekistan embassies or consulates and get it within 2 working days. I believe that with joint efforts, sharing value, visions and ideas, we will achieve great progress in resuming Muslim travel market all around the world, and in particular to Uzbekistan, since it has ancient and fascinating history, culture and heritage behind, making it definitely a destination you can't miss out on. Dear friends, I would like to take this opportunity to reaffirm my gratitude and the best wishes to organizers and for their efforts in conducting this memorable event, and rest assured about my confidence that the results of this event will place Uzbekistan as one of the best ziyarat and halal tourism destinations in the region. Thank you for your attention. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Hassam Munir, and my name is Kakhramon Shakirov. I'm ambassador of Uzbekistan here in Singapore. And taking this opportunity, I would like to express my deep appreciation for the top leaders and the management of the Crescent Rating, and especially for Mr. Faisal, for opportunity today to speak about my country and also about some very World Heritage sites of Uzbekistan. You know, Uzbekistan is very famous with its deep history and known as the Great Silk Road, the territory and the country, and who keeps those history and gently care of those very famous mausoleums and the complexes, which belongs to the World Heritage Sites, and also protected by UNESCO. And you know this, the great pearls of the Great Silk Road located in Uzbekistan. This is the open cities, museums we can call, like Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva. And those monuments and the sites are nowadays are gently preserved, as I mentioned, by the government. And so this is one of the attracting points for our Muslim pilgrims visiting Uzbekistan, and also for other tourists coming to my country. Once again, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm open for discussions for today's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. So first, let's start off with a light question for you. There's so many amazing sites in Uzbekistan. I recently had the opportunity to visit, and there is just so much. It's incredible. So I am wondering, which of the sites are your personal favorite Islamic heritage sites in Uzbekistan for you personally?
So it's difficult to say because, see, this is my lovely country. And as I mentioned, the cities Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva are famous with the historical sites and Islamic heritage sites. But at the same time, the Tashkent, the capital, also has its valuable history and the influence into the Islamic world. Since you know that in Tashkent, in the Hastimon complex, located in the center of Tashkent, this is one of the most significant essence of our capital, the religious head of capital, from near the grave of the great saint and first Imam of Tashkent, Abu Bakr Muhammad Hafal Shashi. Here in this complex, the oldest Quran, the Quran of the third of the religious Caliphs Osman, is gently placed. This is a very famous place in Uzbekistan, in Tashkent capital itself. And another important place of pilgrimage is the Zangiata Mausoleum, a Muslim shrine located near Tashkent. The Zangiata is a famous preacher of Islam in Central Asia, a major follower of Sheikh Ahmad Yassavi, a founder of the Yassaviya order. This is another places which we have in the capital, the modern city, at the same time, but with the deep historical sites there as well. And of course, when we are talking about other cities, of course, we need to touch and say about Samarkand. In Samarkand, there are 3 shrines, visiting of which in one day is equivalent to the performing of small Hajj. This is the memorial complex of Imam al-Bukhari, the legendary theologian, the collector of hadith. It was built around the piece of his burial in 1997-1998 in honor of his 1225th anniversary of his birth. The second one is the Shakirov, as a whole assemble of tombs that store the remains of representatives of the Samarkand nobility and members of the royal family, the family of the Amir Timur. It is located near the legendary settlement of the Afrasiyab. Includes a number of mausoleums in the late Middle Ages. The third one, this is the mausoleum of Rukhabat, built by order of Amir Timur, where the remains of a deeply respected Timur, as well as the Chinese court of religious figure Sheikh Bahruddin Shagazi are buried. And the fourth one, I can tell you also, because this is a very unique place. The place called the Hoja Danyar, or Saint Daniel, the biblical prophet of the Old Testament times, who is served is 3 world religions for Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, also located in Samarkand. And another settlement, this is the Katalangar, called Katalangar. Its history is connected with the life of the Sufi Muhammad Sadiq and the Sufi Brotherhood, Ishqiya. According to the legend, the rags of the Prophet Muhammad were kept in the settlement of Katalangar. And of course, when we are talking about Samarkand, this is nearby, we have a very holy place in the holy city of Bukhara. The sacred Bukhara has long been one of the centers of the Muslim religion. Many prominent religious figures from many countries studied here. And in the suburbs of Bukhara, there are a memorial complex of Bahruddin Naqshbandi, a sheikh of the Sufi order, Naqshbandiya, one of the most famous Sufi brotherhoods. This is some sites and some cities which I can tell about, the lovely place for me and myself, and of course my friends, and visiting to those places. Thank you.
That is an amazing list. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
My next question for you, Your Excellency, is, as Muslim visitors, of course, we have a deep sense of attachment to the Islamic heritage sites. But of course, Uzbekistan has also been home to many other religions and many other traditions, and their, special sites are also located and preserved in some of the regions of Uzbekistan as well. So, for example, we know about the Buddhist heritage, especially in the south around Termiz, and other regions as well. So, what would you like to say about, is Uzbekistan also promoting the heritage of other traditions in the region? And also, do you think it's important for Muslims to also pay attention and learn anything that is beneficial from the other traditions, such as the history of Buddhism in Uzbekistan?
Thank you so much. It's very interesting and very important questions because nowadays in Uzbekistan we have more than 100 nationalities are living in a very very peaceful manner, and the brotherhoods. And Uzbekistan is a very open country for other our friends and other countries. And therefore, we are promoting not only just the Muslim heritage, which is the main heritage in our country, but at the same time, this is the history of the mankind, developing the mankind of which is located also in my country, in Uzbekistan. And you are rightly mentioned about the Buddhist temples, which is located in the southern part of Uzbekistan, the Termez city and the Sukhandara region. For example, it was explored not only by Uzbek archaeologists, but also by the foreigners, especially, let's say, we have it's well-known name, Mr. Kuzo Kato. He's the Japanese archaeologist who explored and found the very old Buddhist temple, and where those stuffs and the Buddha temple itself and the statues itself prove that those items and sculptures are older than those who been just now excavated and just we have in India, for example, and other parts of the world. Then the questions is coming from where the Buddhism came from. This is also because the territory of Uzbekistan in the ancient time was the mixture, and the mixture of the religious, mixture of the nations traveling around this Great Silk Road and even before that. So therefore, Uzbekistan also promoting and open for other religious people coming to my country, also explore the roots of any kind of religions which being developed and just being lovely preserved in my country. Also, we are open for that, definitely.
That's great. That's very good. And kind of related to that, when most people go to Uzbekistan, they, of course, maybe they will fly to the capital, Tashkent, to the airport, and they will see Tashkent. And then the main cities that we usually hear about are Bukhara and Samarkand. These are the places people visit. And of course, these are gems. They're very important, not just in Islamic history, but really in world history, as you just mentioned. But I'm wondering, apart from these cities, is the Uzbekistan government also promoting some of the smaller cities, such as Khiva, such as Tirmiz, such as Andijan, and helping tourism in these cities? Because these cities, I think, also have a very rich history and very amazing culture and tradition. So, will we see more support for tourism in these smaller cities as well?
Yeah, definitely. So you are right. So of course, when before the visiting traveling Uzbekistan, the people almost they knew about the Samarkand, Bukhara, and the big cities, but the Khiva as well. This is also the big city and the historical heritage. But at the same time, developing the tourism in the other cities like Andijan or Termez or other sites of Uzbekistan this is one of the pillar of our strategy to develop those tourism sites and to expand the number of the sites for visitors. And therefore, our Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Heritage doing its almost best and also developing the new the tourism tourists the packs for the foreigners visiting Uzbekistan, and those all this is the combination, the synergy of the cooperation between the government and the private sector in Uzbekistan, and which is the private sector is nowadays developed very very good in a very good manner, and the tourism services also increasing on the yearly basis. And therefore, this is again, so for the foreigners visiting Uzbekistan beforehand, they can also apply for getting some additional information from our embassies abroad, just to get more information about some other sites where they can also visit. It includes the ecology tourism, it includes the mountain tourism, and also includes the sands and other pilgrimage in Uzbekistan, where we definitely have also the special tools for that.
No doubt. I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully someday I can see more of the country and visit even more of the places, because so many amazing places, and some of them you just mentioned. Speaking about what you just said with the cooperation of the government and the private sector to really bring the tourism to the highest quality and access for everyone. I noticed in Uzbekistan, of course, there's many big projects that are happening that are related to this idea of connecting with the Islamic heritage. So two of the projects that I noticed specifically, the first one is that around the burial place of Imam al-Bukhari, there's a research and education complex that is being built there in Samarkand. And then the second one that I noticed was in Tashkent, the Center for Islamic Civilization. It seems like an incredible project that hopefully will be completed within the next couple of years. So can you tell us a bit about those two projects and the significance for Muslims around the world of those two projects specifically?
Okay. So thank you so much for the questions. And you know that the concept of establishing the International Research Center of Imam al-Bukhari was initiated and proposed by the President of Uzbekistan, Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, in October 2016, under the auspice of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. And the main goal of this center, which is established under the Cabinet of Ministers of Uzbekistan, is to study and promote the multifaceted scientific and spiritual heritage of the great ancestors of the Muslim peoples who have made an invaluable contribution to the development of the human civilization. A special place in its activities will be given to an in-depth study of the spiritual heritage of prominent thinkers of Central Asia, including the great Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Tirmizi, the theologian Imam Maturidi, the jurist Imam Margiani, and others. And also to widespread, especially among young people, the ideas of calling for goodness and spiritual perfections. And of course, this center is open for international cooperation, and nowadays is being carried out the activities in cooperation with leading Islamic research centers and prestigious universities in Egypt, Turkey, Malaysia, Pakistan, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Great Britain, France, the Germany, United States, India, and our neighboring countries, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and others. At the same time, yes, you mentioned about the Center for Islamic Civilizations, which is located in Tashkent. And by the decree of our president in July 2021, this center being transformed into the scientific and educational center, which is giving him a more depth research center in the region. with the main aim of the scientific study and communication to the public of the achievements of the new stage of development of the histories of countries' history, and also the propaganda of the samples of the material cultural heritage, ancient and rich traditions of the religions of Islam. Under this decree, also a decree of Uzbek, the government notes that such a decision was made in order to strengthen the scientific and spiritual foundation of the Third Renaissance and the present stage of the awakening of the creative power of the people, educating young people in the spirit of love for the motherland, respect for the national and religious values, further enhancing the role of the country in the development of the Islamic civilization, as well as popularizing the contribution made by great thinkers to world civilization at the national and international level. So, meaning that those two centers are very open for international cooperation with the counterparts from foreign countries.
We're so excited for all of the amazing work that's going to be done within these centers, and also, just the quality. I was able to get a small preview of the Center for Islamic Civilization, and I can't wait to see the final product. And especially, as you mentioned, recognizing that, these are projects that are led by the Uzbek people, but it's a global collaboration of Muslims and perhaps even non-Muslims contributing in different ways to revive the heritage that we all share. So that's an incredible effort, and we're very grateful to the Uzbekistan government and everyone else involved in making these ideas into a reality. Now, one of the challenges that I faced personally, and I feel like some other people face, Muslim visitors, when we go to Uzbekistan, is a language challenge where maybe we are not familiar with Uzbek or any of the related languages, and especially we're not familiar with the Russian script, which is especially used, I noticed, in Tashkent. And it's a bit of a language barrier. So one of the questions I have is, what is the Uzbekistan government doing to give more access to English-speaking Muslims, especially, and also to promote the learning of the Uzbek language among Muslims? So, because still I noticed in some museums you go, maybe there are no English labels, or so it's difficult to understand, etc. But I spoke to a lot of the people there, and clearly they are interested and they are making an effort, and it will take some time. But I just wanted your perspective on what's being done, because of all of the Muslims around the world who mostly speak English.
I see. Yes, thank you. But nowadays, the modern Uzbekistan, also, we are developing our young students and the people, and how to say the people who are engaged in the tourism sector. Of course, those people are very fully, they with the good abilities in English and other foreign languages, because we have the universities in Uzbekistan were taught not only just European language like English or Germany or Italian languages, but also we have the Oriental universities and institutes in Uzbekistan where, let's say, the Chinese, the Japanese, Korean languages are widely also taught, and those people also, after graduations, went to the tourism sector or related or affiliated companies. At the same time, the government, just to create the more favorable conditions for foreigners visiting Uzbekistan, they established the so-called tourist police which are operating in the very historical cities like Samarkand, Bukhara, Termez, and other sites, where, for example, if the tourist has some issues or questions, for example, just to clarify, they can also just easily to access and to ask those staff, the government staff, specialized on the tourism sector. They can also provide the help on various aspects for foreigners visiting Uzbekistan. But of course, studying the Uzbekistan language, of course, the Uzbek language, it's widely, of course, could be done within the special courses of which is provided by our universities and the institutes in Uzbekistan. But at the same time, also, if the foreigners would like to get some basic knowledge of the Uzbekistan language, they can also apply for our embassies, where, for example, our staff can also help just to give them some kind of basic the expressions in Uzbek language, just in order for them to be easy communicate as a first step in Uzbekistan as well. Yes.
That's very good. Thank you so much. That's very, very helpful. And now my last main question for you is, how can Muslims around the world support the Uzbek people and the Uzbek government and the private sector? How can we support this effort to revive this Islamic heritage? So I have visited Uzbekistan. I'm very happy that I got to go to Uzbekistan and I came back, and I can't wait to go again. Inshallah, I'm very excited. I'm currently at home in Toronto, Canada. What can I do to help? What are some ways from your perspective that I can help support all of these efforts?
Thank you so much. It's I think, another very interesting question. Of course, as a support to our government and our people to promote Uzbekistan as one of the main and attractive tourism destination for the Islamic heritage, and also for other religions. Sorry, I think it will be dissemination of the information about our World Heritage and sites of Uzbekistan among your friends in the foreign countries, and also maybe also in translation of existing books of those heritage sites into your own language, for example, and European languages or other Oriental languages, and etc. Of course, government doing it by themselves, those all programs and the books, but I think will be some additional help from our friends in order to promote Uzbekistan in the international arena. Yes. Of course.
Thank you very much. We will definitely try to make an effort to do that. And that wraps up our session. Thank you for sharing your insights with us, Your Excellency, Mr. Shakirov. And thank you to everyone for joining this session at the Halal in Travel Global Summit. Please be sure to check out all of the other interesting sessions we have as well. Once again, thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Shakirov.
Most welcome. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you. All the best. And welcome once again to Uzbekistan.